And everybody here has heard of Jane and Finch, right? And invitation to come and talk about something that I feel very strongly about, and that's about work in the Jane Finch community. And everybody here has heard of Jane and Finch, right? And forget all the bad things you hear. There's many more good things that happen in our community than bad things. There's nowhere else in the world I'd rather work. The Jane Finch Community and Family Center has been around since 1976. And we have 6 locations throughout the community. I see on the program here, I was delighted to see, when you look at the list, Jane Finch Community and Family Center, look at all the listings we have. The Spot. Well, the Spot is one of our programs. It's in the Yorkgate Mall, and it's where the youth hang out in our community. It's a safe place, it's their space. So if anybody's in the Yorkgate Mall, it's on the 2nd floor. If anybody's in the Jane Finch Mall, we have our Ontario Early Years Centre, and that's a program for children 0 to 6. Our other 4 locations are located in various Toronto housing buildings and townhouse units, because we pay really good rent, and a lot of our money that we get from various government funds pay for the programs and services rather than pay for the rent. So that's our choice. And the newest location we have has actually been a very strong partnership with York University. It's called the Centre for Green Change, and it's going to have its grand opening this fall. And so we're really working closely with York on that particular one. So I had not heard about experiential learning until actually very recently. And when Tony and Joelle came to our office to meet with myself and another staff, I sort of perked up and said, whoa, wait a minute, this is really good. I mean, I've worked in the community a lot of years and done a lot of things with York University, but not this particular thing. So one of the first thing that jumped out, one of the first was a program called Women Moving Forward. And that's an intense program for women who are 20 to 29 years old, single moms, on welfare, and really trying to figure out what they want to do. So we bring them into a program 4 days a week to include life skills training, English language arts, career planning, civic education, and group talk, counseling, to help them go from the situation they're in to end up in college or university. So we see you move from poverty to self-sufficiency through education. And we have an incredible success. A lot of the women that come to our program are women who have been through everything, whether it's abuse, sexual abuse, neglect, you name it, mental health problems. They come to our program, and while we can't take the most disadvantaged person, we take a number, and we see women end up coming to York University or to local colleges, which is wonderful. But we do 2 intakes a year. One is in September and one's in January. And it's interesting, when people think about going to school, what do they think about? They think about going to school in September. So we haven't had much difficulty reaching out to this population to do an intake in September. But for the second intake in January, the population we're talking about have just been through Christmas, living in poverty, maybe feeling badly about what they were not able to do for their children, and just not feeling great about themselves. And so it's really a difficult time to begin to think about, oh, I want to start a new program. So what we wanted was an outreach strategy to really find a strategy that would market this program in a way that would be attractive to this particular population at any particular time. So we were very lucky to have 7 fourth-year students, all women, come to our center, and because they were really interesting. They were marketing students who really were interested in looking at a program that focused on women and women empowerment. So they met with me first to learn more about the program, and they took everything away and worked independently on this project. What they did, some of the things they did a focus group with the group of women. They spoke to individual women. They reviewed our website and reports, and then they sat in a group to observe how a group operates, and then prepared a lovely report and a new brochure. And you know, it's really interesting. We have been using the same brochure for years and years and years and hadn't even thought about that tool. And they came up with a really lovely brochure that we are definitely going to use going forward. They also really recommended some marketing or some social media marketing tools that we will also implement. So it was really, really a wonderful experience. I, as a person who's very busy in an organization, didn't feel like it took a lot of time. And I felt like the students were practice students who were keen on an idea, so we really appreciated that. So one of the things I was going to pitch when Joelle made that offer, I can't help but always putting ideas out there, but I don't know how many people know a lot about Jane and Finch. It's a really interesting community. It has well over 100 different ethnocultural groups speaking over 120 different languages. It's not the people that are a problem in Jane and Finch, it's the poor planning of Jane and Finch that's created the problem for the people who live in that particular community. It's divided with lines, so even the Black Creek divides the university from Jane and Finch. There's territorial things where you have Finch, and there's Palisades or San Romano Way right on the corner that has 5,000 residents living there. That's a neighborhood on itself. You go south of Finch, you've got Topcliffe and York Woods, and then on the other side you've got Fergo, a big dense social housing neighborhood. You go north and you've got Edgeley Village, which is Driftwood and Shoreham. You go to the other side, so it's all divided. There's almost like lines been drawn through it, and so even as youth they become territorial. And so it's not a community like Regent Park or Parkdale where they see the whole community. It makes our community very difficult to work with, and it's not that easy to understand. And so one of the things that York actually did many years ago was an early comparative study, because we kept saying, wait a minute, downtown's getting a lot more money than we are, and we've got the same kind of demographics and populations. And so way back then in the 70s, they had done a really interesting study that showed that a lot of the United Way Toronto's money was going downtown, not here. And as a result of that study, it got switched. We suddenly saw United Way money coming to our community. So that was done in the 70s, and I would love to see a comparative study done of our community compared to a downtown group in terms of population, in terms of demographics. And for instance, Wood Green is a wonderful organization, but it's got like 500 staff. We've got 56 staff. You know, when you compare, there's a lot of difference, but we have as much needs as neighborhoods downtown. So we're not advocating that downtown should get less resources. We're looking at new resources. So that's a pitch that I really wanted to put out there, because I have to say that you know, any of you that end up doing experiential learning in Jane Finch will walk away with some very important lessons, because it's a really wonderful community. Thank you.